Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great day and keeping yourself safe in our modern COVID world. Today I want to go over my 600 subs. We've hit 600 subs on the channel, and what I have been doing as a tradition is every time we get to an even 100 number, I do a special video for you folks. So today for my 600 subs, what I wanted to do for you was to take a kind of a deep dive into my personality types. Sometimes I'll give you I've done like a feature tour of my philosophy, my love of philosophy, of my library. I've made an argument for why I think adults should be reading young adult fiction, so forth. So I've tried to give you like a little bit of opportunity to kind of see behind the fences who I am beyond a fan of the speculative fiction, and that way you get kind of, I think, a deeper appreciation of who I am as a person who does this channel. This is my special 600 subs, and we're going to be taking a look at my personality type. And I'm a very big fan of personality types, and so we're going to be taking a look at two separate ways that you can look at my personality type. Now, the first we're going to be looking at is the Myers-Briggs personality type. This is a personality type that gives you a rating in 4 different categories, and you're ranked on one side or the other. And based on those 4 rankings, it can give you one of the 16 different types. So those give you a very strong feel for your personality type. These different types are in different levels. For example, I'm an extrovert, and extroverts have a much more higher number than introverts. So some of these personality types are rarer than others. And some of them are actually evenly split. But the combination of them thus are more or less rare, and so forth. And there are a lot of information. If you just go to Google and you type in your 4 letters, you'll find so many websites that just go to these 4 letters. That's how popular this type is. So what type am I? I'm an ENTP. Now what does that mean? So an E stands for extroverted. I'm extroverted. I love to talk. I will regularly, if I've got a thought, I want to say it. I will say something before I realize that I might interrupt somebody, because I just instinctively will speak as soon as the thought comes into my head. I believe in the value of debate, not as a sport, but not as a personal matter. So it shouldn't be done to hurt people or so forth. But I like the idea of sport, of debate. And debating. I will take an opinion that I don't believe at all in order to further an argument. I love the idea of talking. When I speak something, I will feel it more than when I just think about it. I can immediately think about something. If a teacher asks me a question, or I'm sending an email that asks me to get my opinion on something, even if I've never thought about that thing before, I will have an immediate response to that. I don't need to think about it. And then I will also learn as I speak. So as I start to talk, I might also coalesce my opinions, learn as I speak. So you process things by speaking. I'm an extrovert. The other version of this is an introvert. That's somebody who takes in information before they come up to a decision. They generally will want to energize without recharging by talking to other people. They're going to want to spend some time reading, spending time by themselves. They also tend to be people that need to have time to think about things. They see debating as less of a valuable thing, and that sort of thing, right? They're less verbal. They'll have less friends, but their friends will be closer. So that's kind of the difference between an I and an E, and I'm an E. I'm an extrovert. Okay, the next one, I am intuitive. Now the intuitive one is the rare one on this one. Basically, do you see things as the big picture, or do you see things with the small details? The detail-oriented people are going to be sensing. I am intuitive. I see the big picture. I see the forest for the. I'm not somebody who will miss the forest for the trees. I'm not somebody who gets the big picture. I'm comfortable talking about topics that are philosophical in nature, that are not rooted in strong details. I love philosophy classes. I love philosophy. I love learning about things and talking about things that are of a nebulous nature, like other ends. I'm very intuitive, and so you'll see me as a very intuitive person on this channel. In addition to being extroverted, because I can just come up here, I don't need to plan anything, I'll just speak and be done with it. The next one, I am a thinker, not a feeler. Thinkers are people that value values, and feelers are people that value people. And at the end of the day, if you have to make a decision or do something that's going to hurt yourself, An F will value other people before themselves and principles. A T will value principles and doing the right thing before over hurting others. That's generally how they come to play. I, as a T, do not believe it's my job to get involved in other people's lives and affairs. I'm not going to play matchmaker. You're an adult. You can find people on yourself. I'm not going to try to, if I've got two friends who are fighting, I'm not going to feel the need to play pacemaker. You guys are adults. You'll do it yourself. I'm a T. That's not my job as an adult. It's not my job. My job as an adult to interfere, referee, or matchmake other adults. That's not my job. I'm not going to lose any sleep when my friends don't get along. I'm not going to get upset with that. I'm not going to get up. At the end of the day, that's not my job. It's not my role. I value things. I value thinkers. I see things from a thinking perspective. If I were a feeler, I would do those things. I would absolutely want to play peacemaker. I would absolutely want to play matchmaker. I would absolutely care about people. I would lose sleep if my friends were fighting. I would take it very personally if they were, and I would take it upon myself to try to correct that. And neither one of these, obviously, for any of these, is worse than the other ones. And that's also going to be the true for the last one. I am a perceiver, not a judger. Perceivers are people that don't plan, that don't have. They're the ones that are more comfortable by not planning, but just improvising. I don't write my things ahead of time and then have a script here that I read. I don't even have an outline, although I will do a dry run. But I don't. Other than that, I don't do anything. I'm spontaneous in my work too. I might send myself the occasional email because when I get an assignment, just to remind myself. I don't study for tests. I just write them down and then I never need to go back to it. I don't plan for vacations. I'm very much a perceiving kind of person. A judging person would be more comfortable having outlines, writing papers that are doing things ahead of time. They would plan the YouTube channel out more than I have done, right, and so forth. So you see that here in this channel too. So again, I am ENTP. I'm extroverted. I am intuitive. I am thinking, and I am perceiving. So those are my 4 types from the Myers-Briggs personality type. Now let's move on to my next type we're talking about today. The second type here is going to be the Strengths Finder. Strengths Finder was created by the people that put together the Gallup polls. And when they were doing a lot of polling and data, they realized that there were a lot of similarities between people. And they started to research these similarities, and they came up with this positive psychology approach where you focus on your strengths rather than honing your weaknesses. You can hone your strengths to be better than you can hone a weakness to be. So you should work on improving what you're already strong at rather than working to improve what you're weak at, because your weak stuff's never going to get that good. But your strong stuff can get so much better and can get you to a stronger place. There are more than 30 different strengths that people have. The order of their strengths from 1 to 5 changes how they interact with each other. And what are in your top 5 strengths will also interact how they interact with each other. So your own sort of unique five types from more than 30, and what their order is will create a very unique personality for you. So what are my strengths? Great question. My number 1 strength is the strength that you probably see the most in this channel: context. For me, I can't make a change to something unless I know how it came to be. I love learning about something. When I learn about something, I appreciate it more. When I learn about how it came to be, when I interact with how it came to be, I appreciate it more. For example, I love the Cthulhu mythos, which was my favorite Cthulhu mythos works aren't the ones that were written now. They were the ones that were written at the same time that H.P. Lovecraft was writing his works in the 20s and 30s. I love that stuff more than anything else. And I've read pretty much every Generation 1 story I can get my hands on from that generation that was at the same time. I just love it. I love the context. I love seeing it in action. I also love Generation 0, the generation of things that were written beforehand that influenced the Generation 1 writers. The Arthur Machins, like the Great God Pan, or stuff like Lord Dunsany's Gods of Pangea and so forth. I just love that sort of stuff that influenced Ambrose Bierce and these sorts of things. I just love love that Generation Zero stuff. Just love it so much. Because it's the context of the Cthulhu mythos. And I love learning about contexts. I go back and watch a lot of things. I have watched, and I own probably more than 20 serials from the movies, back when their movies were kind of this community thing, and there were these, and it was before the television came about, and there were these serials that were being made for movie screens that were separate from movies, newsreels, cartoons that everybody watched every week. And you would watch a 10 to 20 minute serial that was 10, 15, 20 episodes long. And those were typically the things that brought people to the movie theaters. And we don't appreciate movie serials in modern cinema the way that we should, or with people. And I think that's a sad thing. I love seeing those contexts. I love going back and exploring how things used to be. And you see that in this channel heavily with what stories I choose to present to you. You don't see me giving, the most recent Hugo Award, from 2020 or 2019, you see me going back and doing stuff from the pulp era. You see me going back and doing stuff from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, right? The 1800s, the 1700s. You see me going back and doing older things. That's what I'm fascinated with. That's what I'm reading. That's what I care about. That's what this channel cares about. So you see my context more in this channel than anything else. So what's my number 2 strength? Positivity, which I also think you see a lot with me. I have never met an exclamation point that I didn't like. I love people, I love things, I love reading, I love doing, I love living. I'm absolutely a glass half full person. I love everything. I love you. I love me. I love everything about this life that we live. It's so awesome. We learn so much from the things that get in our way. I love the books that I've read. I love bringing them to you. So you get that. You also really get it from my comment section, where I have a lot of exclamation points in my I also make sure that I take some time out of every video to let you know just how important it was to me that you spent some time and invested in my video. Because again, I love you. So why wouldn't I do that? You also will see that in another strength later on. Strength number 3 for me is another brain strength, and that's strategic. I am the planner. I plan things. This is actually different than my J and my P, my perceiver. I do some things to plan. I think about the long-term picture. I want to make sure that I have enough things to do something before I commit to it. I don't just commit and then say halfway through, oh well, that sucked. Before I even created this channel, I had brainstormed 50 videos, so I knew I had a year's worth of videos if I did one a week before I even started this channel. And I know I have got more. So I am strategic. My number 4 strength is connectedness. I believe that what happens to one of us happens to all of us. The good stuff that happens to you happens to me. The bad stuff that happens to you happens to me. I celebrate in your victories and I wallow in your losses. I also think that's where my politeness, my civility comes from. We're all connected. We're all interrelated. So of course I'm going to be respectful to you. Of course I'm going to be appreciative of where you are. And I think that also interacts with my positivity. And so you can kind of see that uniqueness of those two strengths kind of interacting. And then my final and 5th strength is ideation. I see connections and data points where other people just see random numbers. I can look at data, raw data, and see connections. I can see similarities. I come up with concepts that nobody else has come up with, and I create connections in data points that other people just see raw numbers. So that's my ideation strength. And that's the end of my strengths finder. So there you are. Those are my 2 major kind of aspects of my personality type, and how you see them in the channel. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for getting the 600 subs. I've already planned my 700 subs video because, again, I'm strategic. But I haven't actually done it like an outline, nor will I, because again, I'm not judging, I'm perceiving. So I'm not super into that. But there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. If you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged. Hit that subscribe button. There's going to be so many more of these to follow. And you'll get to another 100 videos. And then finally, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day and watching my video. We all have so many things happening in our lives, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me and invested in me is really humbling. I really do appreciate it. So thanks again and have a great day.